one of the things that we always talk about when we're talking like why eXp is that it's not just best life or nothing, right?
Right.
So it's best life or eXp solo. So like I wanted to kind of chat about, I thought it'd be a good idea, like if we chatted about what eXp solo looks like and how it kind of aligns with Best Life & Co. and kind of like what we're doing here.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you and I have always talked about it, but one of the cool things about an agent having the option for eXp independent at a Romeo office or Royal Oak office is the fact that they can leverage a lot of what we're already doing for the team. So one of the things, the first place my mind goes is the morning calls. So we do the morning calls from 8:30 to 9 every morning. We have a different training topic every single day. I know that for a lot of the independent agents who have joined us at eXp Romeo, one of the things they love most is that's their kind of morning pick-me-up and their morning training call to get them in the right mindset, and also just to know what the hell's going on in the market, because it is a very evolving, interesting market over the next 2-3 months, and I think it's super important that they're up to speed on everything that we're working on at Best Life too. Right?
Yeah, because like that's one of the common things like we hear all the time is like, oh, I'm kind of on an island, you know, like I need some sort of like accountability or like some team, but like maybe I don't want the accountability of being on a team. So that's where like a daily team call where they could be a fly on the wall, participate if they want, like at least it gets like the juices flowing for that day as they hop into their schedule.
And the biggest difference between an agent coming eXp independent underneath us and with us or Best Life, I say at Best Life, we're going to make you do it, or we're going to strongly ask that you do it. And then when you're independent, you can tap into anything you want, but you don't have to do anything. So you can really tap in as much as you want, whether it's the team calls. Today, I think we had 3 or 4 people at our team meeting, and then we have day-to-day and week-to-week trainings that a lot of our independent agents are tapping into too. So they get the same access to a lot of our team stuff without having the accountability of being on the team, right?
Bingo. Yeah. And then so that's like local boots on ground support. And then like in addition to that, like our group at eXp Fast Forward Movement offers numerous Zoom calls throughout the week. And it's a very high producing group. Like we always talk about 10% of the agents making up 50% of the volume at eXp. So like this is like some of the best team leaders in the country, in the world. And they're hosting these Zooms routinely. So like there's ways, since if you're in our world, you can tap into that.
You have access to that too.
Bingo,
I mean, I always say if you're an independent agent with us at eXp, you know, you have the hyper local support, which are the morning calls, day-to-day and week-to-week training workshops, the monthly meetings that we do, obviously access to you and I and, you know, the brokers locally at eXp, but our Fast Forward Movement is our eXp upline. What was it, 2 weeks ago? I think we had a master class. Dan Beard did his listing presentation. It was absolutely awesome. I think there were 12 or 15 agents with us at eXp on that call, and we just tap into one of the top listing agents in the country, right?
Yeah. And then
you want to talk Slack for a second? Just because I know a lot of agents ask about just like kind of the feeling of community and connectivity when it is a cloud-based brokerage.
Yeah, like where do I go if I have a question, things like that, right? So we use Slack, and that is like a team communication app where there's different channels that are scheduled or like that are broken down, right? So it could be like listings or questions or hot buyers or you name it, right? And so that's where agents, eXp solo agents in our world can be part of that Slack channel, have a sense of community, have a place to go if there's a question, have a place to share a listing they have coming up, and if, you know, maybe they need help on it with comping or you name it, here's a one-stop shop where 50 people can see it right away.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Another thing that we've added to our solo agent world is tapping into our client appreciation events.
One of the things that I think is really cool for an independent agent at eXp to tap into, something that we're already doing, is our client appreciation events. So we have 3 client appreciation events every single year. The one we just had, it was adults only. It was at the Hub in Auburn Hills. Any indie agent that joins underneath us, they have the ability to bring their own close clients, leverage the event that we're already doing, and simply pay, you know, a la carte. So I look at the Hub, $25,000 or $30,000 event.
Huge.
And any indie agent, if they want to bring their top 10, 20, 30 VIP clients that refer them the most business or their most trusted supporters, they could come and leverage that event for under $1,000. So I mean, those are just some of the ways that not only you can tap into our education and kind of mastermind world, but also our expense world too, if that makes sense.
Bingo. And we're talking like a big 400 or 500 person type of event 3 times a year. I mean, how great does that look for an agent bringing 5, 10, 20 people?
I mean, we had the entire back half of the Hub in Auburn Hills rented out, and any agent that is in our world can make it seem like they had it rented out themselves. Really cool. And then obviously we do the big summer event, and then we do the fall event at Blake's Orchard or whatever, right? I want to talk about John Pugh coaching.
Yeah.
So the coaching is something that we recently have offered to our independent agents. John Pugh is one of the best and biggest growth coaches in the entire world. So I know you and I recently invested in that 3-4 months ago. So any agent that's interested in bringing other agents to eXp and growing, you know, obviously they can tap into our coaching. So, you know, obviously if he's one of the top coaches in the world, build. He's not cheap. You and I are doing it already. So that gives other people access to him on a weekly coaching call that you and I are already doing. So again, I go back to kind of top 3 or 4 things. You can leverage our education. You can leverage our financial resources. You can leverage your own expenses by tapping into expenses or things that we're already doing. It really just allows you to tap into and leverage what you want and then avoid what you don't. And I think that's the biggest difference between team and independent, right?
Bingo. It's kind of like a la carte, and you can go as hard, you can do as much or as little as you want, and you can turn those dials daily, weekly, monthly to fit your lifestyle, your business, what you're looking to do, right?
Well, I just know too, a lot of times we talk about just like the environment, and I know you and I like follow Cheplack and talk a lot about Cheplack, but he's like, you can't make someone do something, but you can create the environment that they want to do it themselves. And I think with indie agents, that's what we're trying to do here, obviously at eXp Romeo and at the Royal Oak offices in Metro Detroit. We're trying to create that environment of high productivity, selling the right way, wealth building, masterminding, continuous growth. We're trying to create that environment that indie agents can tap into and have access to, and ultimately it's going to be up to them. But what we found is the agents who have joined us at eXp and who are engaged and who do tap into it, we've seen production for those agents stay consistent and skyrocket.
Paid coaching via rev share, right? Like, hey, rev share or coaching and accountability and like paid recruiting, like we don't need to say recruiting, but like paid, like, agent attractions everywhere. Like, do we want to talk about that at all? 5 years ago when we joined eXp, everyone's like, oh, it's this recruiting company. But like now you see the numbers every month, the top brokerage here in Metro Detroit and Michigan, right? So like it obviously works, and the people that are in it, some of the highest producing teams in the state and the country have turned over. So like there's this collaborativeness around it that's made it make sense.
So Dave, like you talked about, one of the coolest and most consistent things we do is we have the morning team calls, right? And I think you've been with us for almost 5 years at Best Life. We open up those calls to every independent agent who's working with us at eXp. So can you just go into the types of calls, what we talk about, the topics, just so they can get an idea of the training that goes on every day from 8:30 to 9 a.m.?
Yeah, perfect. So like Monday we do motivation, and then we do some sort of like education-based topic, right? And it could just be wins from the weekend or how we got a deal done, a specific deal, or it could just be like, how a conversation went, how it could have went, right? But like there's always a learning aspect to it and then some like motivational aspect to it, like heading into the week, right?
I know the last couple we've talked about too, like just how the NAR ruling is going to change and evolve with the real estate industry and how our team can adapt to it. And then obviously we've been talking about the market a lot too on Mondays, just because I feel like the market's absolutely nuts and we're in spring selling season. So agents are very curious on what they can do to get offers accepted, where the market's at and how they can navigate it, right?
Yeah. And after a weekend with, our 37 agents now, like there's always 2, 3, 4, 10 stories to share on someone that got an offer accepted or just missed one and what they could have done. And so there's always a learning opportunity. So I tell people this all the time, like you can be a fly on the wall as a solo agent, or you could do 5 deals a year and be listening in. But after listening for a few months, it's going to sound like you're doing 10 deals a month.
Yeah.
Because you're getting the aggregate of decades of experience on this call.
I know you've said it too often, where we'll have a call and then all of a sudden the call's over and you get 3 or 4 text messages on the side from a new agent or an indie agent that just joined our world. And they're like, hey, what's this? What's that? Can you do a 30-minute training on the side with me on this subject or on this negotiation strategy or on this offer strategy? And I think that's what it's all about, is kind of create that environment that they can tap into. And then obviously you, me, Brandon, some of the other leaders within our eXp organization are there to really help them master that skill to get them into production or get them into more,
Yep, bingo.
Talk about your Friday call.
So on Friday, we do a shift forward Friday, right? So like a shift in your business, effort-based, result-based, mind shift-based, something where you've made a change as an agent to adapt in this market, right? Whether it's scripting around the NAR ruling or an offer strategy that you've articulated to your buyers, like you name it, it can be anything, whether it's tweaking your schedule or whatever to optimize it. And agents will share this and like it'll spark ideas for other agents, right? And it starts to like snowball. And so the call is always super productive, super high energy. And there's always like 2 or 3 really good nuggets at the end of it that the team can take like into the weekend, where maybe it's something they would have thought of on their own, or it may have taken them a year or 6 months to maybe like, oh, I could do this, but they're hearing it firsthand because again, there's 50 plus people on this call sharing their experiences.
I know here, you opened up this office, Labor Day, right?
Correct.
So in the last 6 months, how many independent agents have we added in the office? Between both of our offices, 5 to 10?
Yeah, 10.
Yeah, I would say a dozen.
I was going to say 10.
I mean, what do you think when you think, is eXp the right fit for an agent? What do you think they should be looking for? And like, what would you say that we're about? What can they expect out of us at a hyper local level at eXp?
So that's a good question, because here it's like really what it comes down to is like, it's not even an eXp convo. It's like, where are you going to get the most support?
Yeah.
And where are you going to sell the most in the right type of environment, right? We got a great environment here between our Royal Oak and Romeo offices. We got people people with a ton of experience doing a lot of deals to where you can tap in kind of wherever you would like to make it align with what you want to do in your business, right?
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the best way to put it is like it's the best of both worlds and you can tap in where you want and kind of pick and choose where you want to plug and play.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the one thing that I've always liked about eXp is I feel like it is cloud-based, so eXp stays out of your hair most of the time, and then when you need it, they're there for you. And I think that's kind of the same way that Best Life and our hyper-local brokerage of eXp operates, where you can tap into exactly what you want, but if you want to have your own brand, you want to be independent, you want to work remote, I mean, we don't care. We give you access to everything and allow you to tap into exactly what you want when you need it,
Bingo.
right?